there by me that indicate that people like myself who voted for Mr. Trump hoping that we would stay out of worthless wars have been totally disappointed in that regard. In the first place, most Americans do not realize the whole history of American involvement in the situation in Korea. I'd like to recommend the 2-volume set on the Korean War by Bruce Cummings, the head of the History Department at the University of Chicago. If you take a very close look at that 2-volume history, you discover that between 1945 and 1948, the United States was already intervening in Korea, supporting a strong man by the name of Syngman Rhee and all the things that he was doing and trying to provoke a war with North Korea. And we were supporting Rhee in what proved to be a bloody effort between 1945 and 1948 that killed tens of thousands of Koreans. And that basically Syngman Rhee's Army and Police force were absolutely loaded with Koreans who had been collaborators with the Japanese occupational regime during the Second World War. This had a lot to do with what proved to be the outcome of what we now know today as the Korean War of 1950. That really can't be understood unless we look at 1945 to 1948 and also understand that despite the very principled efforts by people like Republican Senator Robert Taft and Congressman Howard Buffett of Iowa, also a Republican, that Harry Truman got the war that he wanted, and Harry Truman had plenty of advance warning of this North Korean attack. It was not the surprise attack that he claimed, and Truman basically committed us to a major involvement in Southeast Asia without congressional authorization. This should suggest something, of course, in terms of the dangers of what we're now doing with people like Donald Trump and Rex Tillerson and Mike Pence. The second thing is, again, predictably, these North Korean nuclear capabilities are being totally distorted, totally inflated to the point of absurdity. They do not have anything approaching a legitimate missile that can attack the United States or Hawaii, our 50th state. Of their recent missile tests, the vast percentage of them failed when it even came to striking Japan. And therefore, I think when we look at this whole situation, North Korea is a threat, but they are a threat to South Korea and to the deaths that will ensue, possibly as many as the deaths of a million South Koreans at the hands of North Korea, if the United States should ignite something courtesy of Donald Trump and courtesy of Rex Tillerson and Mike Pence and company, that would end up being a tragedy for both North and South Korea. The United States is not at risk, but our so-called South Korean allies are very much at risk in all of this, and frankly, it would be in their interest for these 28,000 American troops to get out of South Korea and come home, and for there to be some legitimate negotiations between North and South Korea that would involve the United States, Russia, and China. Thirdly, this is a part of a big and very ominous picture that goes well beyond Korea. After all, Donald Trump's America First rhetoric has proved to be a complete fraud. Whether you're reading Pat Buchanan or Paul Craig Roberts, Robert Perry, or Philip Giraldi, this frightening picture is emerging. We have Trump illegally attacking a sovereign government in Syria, putting American boots on the ground of Syria, in Syria illegitimately. The United States continues to be involved in supporting these Sunni Wahhabic extremists in Syria illegitimately and illegally, because both Israel and Saudi Arabia are dragging us around by the nose. When we look at this ongoing buildup of NATO and the forces of the United States fronting Russian borders in Eastern Europe, this is a violation of everything that the first George Bush assured Gorbachev we would not do. This is, in fact, what we are doing. And between those militaristic efforts and our overthrow, participation in the overthrow of a legitimately elected government in the Ukraine, on top of this illegitimate action that we're undertaking to try and overthrow the legitimate and sovereign regime in Syria, suggests that Donald Trump is nothing more than a combination of the Bush empire, the Clinton empire, and Barack Obama when it comes to issues of war and peace and empire. Mr. Trump continues to support Israel to the hilt rhetorically, despite their continued illegal theft of Palestinian lands. Mr. Trump is ensuring that Israel is getting everything, along with a very compliant Congress, that Israel gets everything that it wants in terms of subsidies, financially and politically. And the long and the short of it is this. whether we're looking at the Middle East or whether we're looking at the southern underbelly of Russia, or we're looking at Eastern Europe fronting Russia. We're looking at these reckless actions of the United States in this Korean situation, or the fact that our Secretary of State has already rhetorically committed us in his confirmation hearings before the United States Senate to actions that would virtually guarantee a war between the United States and China over the South China Sea and over the Spratly and Paracel Islands there. This is not what Mr. Trump was saying during the campaign. People who were hopeful that we could stay out of these conflicts and begin to bring our people home and have a more peaceful foreign policy and a better situation at home are very sadly disappointed. And I'm going to be telling my constituency in a show that I'm taping with Dr. Patrick Slattery on Monday that I will never support Donald Trump again. I think he's a dangerous man, and it's clear to me that these